everyone. Thank you for being here. This is an easy one, right? Because these guys don't need any introduction. By any traditional metric, you can use. These four people are very successful entrepreneurs in the Spanish ecosystem, right? They've built fast-growing companies. They raised a lot of money. They've reached huge valuations. They employ thousands of people, right? Amazing, amazing story. But that's just half the story, right? And today we're going to be talking about the other half. At Endeavor, we know that a small number of successful entrepreneurs can have a huge impact in the entire ecosystem, right? And that's what we call the multiplier effect. Entrepreneurs know that by paying it forward, by investing in the next generation of entrepreneurs, by mentoring them, by letting their own employees found other companies, they can have a much bigger impact in the ecosystem, in job creation, in community transformation, right? That's the multiplier effect. And that's what we measure at Endeavor, right? Not always easy, but we don't always, it's not that we only track what these guys do with their companies, we also track the mentoring sessions that they have with other entrepreneurs. We mentor the investments they have in other companies, right? We'll look at the companies that other employees found, right? And that's the amazing thing. Listen to this number, guys. These four people combined, they'd have an impact in 450 companies. Let that sink in, right? Four people, 450 companies. They founded 10 companies. They've invested in 125 companies. Their own employees have founded close to 200 companies, and they've mentored more than 100 fellow entrepreneurs. These are the people that we have here with us today. So we could be talking about their success stories with their companies for hours, but today, what we want to use the next 20 minutes is to learn about how the mind of these people work. Why does a high-impact entrepreneur spend so much time paying it forward and helping others? Okay, so let's do this. We're going to start very quick. We only have 18 minutes, so we're going to be super fast. I'm going to start with you, Pablo. You are a serial entrepreneur. I probably know everybody knows here that you've built the Klee empire, right? The question that I have for you is, why do you do this to yourself, right? Why do you keep funding new companies when you could potentially be helping the ecosystem in, let's say, less stressful ways?
Yeah. Well, no, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure. And we are four entrepreneurs, but Endeavor is a community of 2,500 entrepreneurs around the globe. So I hope we make a representation, but there's a lot of impact done by Endeavor entrepreneurs. So I think you need to love the math and the pain, no? Somehow. I think life goes between suffering and boredom. So there's bad suffering, obviously diseases and something that happens, but I think there's good suffering, I would say, that is starting a company, no? So for me, it's the best way to create an impact in the world. And it's interesting because some people say it's fun. Well, it's not fun. It's a lot of pain. But for me, it's like a game. It's when you play Monopoly and then you finish the game, you want to play another round. So what I would say is there's a big difference between your first company and the next ones in the sense that the first time that you are an entrepreneur, it's all or nothing, right? Then in your second or third company, hopefully you are financially secure, and that gives you like another level of confidence. But it doesn't get better. Like a mistake that I made is I thought that because you've done it before, it's going to be easier, but no, it doesn't get easier or less painful. But I think you as an entrepreneur are a little bit more accustomed to pain and problems. Right. So I don't have children, but my sister has 9 children. So what she tells me. So she's like a serial mother, no? And what she tells me is like, it doesn't get easier, but you get used to the pain and the problems and that. So that's what I can say.
Entrepreneurs love pain. We got that first learning here. We're going to turn it to you, Veronica. The success you had in an industrial sector as robotics has been a source of inspiration for many people. Actually, so many people that we can't even keep track of that. But you've formalized that through the AstiTech Foundation, where you're helping young kids, in particular young girls, right, to follow STEM careers. Why did you do that? And what is the impact that you're seeing in the people you're helping?
Yeah, thank you, Antonio, and super happy to be here today representing Endeavor. As Pablo was saying, and I will go to the first part of your question, what we do is much more than generating employment or turnover or expansion or exits or having funds putting money or industrials putting money in our companies. This is about generating quality employment. It's about making our employees dream high. That's why these people here have so many employees that have generated their own startups afterwards, because they discover that doing things differently, that challenging status quo, it's something that you can do. It's painful, it's challenging, but it's fun. So that's one thing. Another thing is when we develop the communities of suppliers that are around us, and we find within Endeavor true examples of companies that have completely transformed the regions because suddenly, I don't know, people that were producing toys are now producing aerospace components. Or in my case, in Burgos, which is in the north of Spain, and no one expected to have a robotic company, we deployed a super supply chain of very many suppliers that became the highest level possible so that we could really be supplying to automotive and main industries worldwide. I sold the company in 2021, but I could keep with me the ASTI nonprofit, ASTI Foundation. And there what we do is the promotion of science and technology in kids. And you would say, why is this relevant? Well, this is relevant because 80% of the positions will be destroyed because of technology. This is relevant because in Spain, only 7% of the university matricula are in tech. This is relevant because in Spain, 27% of unemployment rate in youth. This is relevant because only 1.1 kids per family. Your sister is really good. 1.1, which is the lowest birth rate in the developed countries. So this needs to change. And we need to take action into this. I saw firsthand through mobile robotics how we were destroying employment, but generating new employment. And we need to make sure that our youth understands what's going on and what's going to happen. And they need to get ready for that. So we have 7,000 students. 89% of the students that go through our program select the tech path afterwards. And this is the impact we want to drive. No? We want to secure that our communities are ready for what is to come.
Thank you, Veronica. So Veronica mentioned how you guys have amazing employees that end up starting companies, right? Felipe, you always say that one of the reasons why you have so many employees that start other companies is because of the type of people you hire, right? And the amount of ownership that you gave them from day one, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that culture you have at Job and Talent and, well, the pros and cons, right, of having great future entrepreneurs in the company?
Yeah, sure. I think, like for us, one of our key operating principles has been always about extreme ownership. And there is a great book, by the way, from the Navy SEALs, about that. And it has been always because when you're building something new, you need to really own it. You need to be accountable for it. You need to go through the pain and not look for excuses. And we have been looking for those type of people to bring into the company. Then the other side of that story is that having that people will make them actually want to start sometimes their own businesses. And being honest, when Michele came to tell me he was leaving or Kikon to start Tax Down, I was not happy, moment one, like being completely honest. Then actually we ended investing, in their company. And the way Juan and myself, we think about it is like, we know that those people will leave, but we want to give them a platform for those young people, to come, to learn and to see how it's a startup, to be in contact with that, to fail, to learn from those failures, because we believe that that kind of talent is transformational for the company. So without giving that platform to them, probably we wouldn't have that type of caliber of people. So it's sad when they leave, but it's true that the trade-off for us is much better to have them for the years that they can be with us.
Thank you. That's the multiplier effect in action, right? Sasha, you guys are also at Glovo an amazing example of being a founder's factory, right? You guys have been very deliberate about making this happen and empowering your employees, and you've gone to the extent of even creating Glovo House, right, to house some of these entrepreneurs that are coming out of Glovo. Can you tell us about the same thing, like the culture you have at Glovo, and how does Glovo House work?
Yeah, so first of all, employees, we're actually doing this organically. So the average age of employees in Glovo worldwide is around 31, so it's a super young company. But a lot of these are doing this at 27, 28. So maybe their first serious job was at Glovo, and then they use that as a trampoline to actually set up their own company. So it's happening organically. Second, is super proud when somebody comes to you and say, I'm leaving, not that I'm leaving Glovo, but in the end, I'm going to set up a company, and you say, wow. And then I really think that Glovo's legacy is going to be the 1,000 of great, amazing companies that our employees have created. I think, we have these yellow boxes all over, but I think this will be our real legacy. And it's already happening. There's, I think, close to 150 startups have been created by employees from Glovo. And just in numbers, I think they've funded around 200 million, and they've generated around, I think, 2,000 jobs already. So this is already happening, which is super exciting. The program is super simple. It's using our ecosystem, everything around Glovo to help them and empower them. And that's mentoring, access to the team, helping with funding, both our network of funding or in fact, the employees, we create ways that employees can invest, screening some of their projects, and just really helping them as well from a brand perspective. 35 companies have gone through the program. We accept about 60% because we screen them quite, and then we put them in the program. For example, right now there's Fabric, which is online through LinkedIn, which is GlovoX, which is a group of ex-employees who've created a group for investing, and that's going through the process right now. So super exciting, and I don't know, I think it's going to be amazing to see all these unicorns being created by ex-colleagues.
Excellent. So as you can see, I mean, these things, they just don't happen, right? You can be very deliberate about it. Thank you so much, Sasha. We're going to go back to Veronica, and we're going to touch on another side of your multiplier effect, which is you're probably one of the most active mentors that we have at Endeavor. You've given advice to many, many fellow entrepreneurs, right? And that advice has been transformational for many people, right? So we wanted to know what does it look like on the other side? Like, how do you prepare for those mentoring sessions, right? And how far are you willing to go when you give advice to other entrepreneurs?
Let me say first that I learned while I was in ASTI the power of governance and the power of mentorship. And a good governance as a good mentorship, you should have people next to you that is willing to tell you what you do not want to hear. And that's the key of it. No, if you just have people around you, mentors or independent board members in your board that tell you what you want to hear and that are, as we say in Spanish, palmeros, that doesn't work. So you need to be, so that's number one. Second is that I have committed so many errors. I have fallen so many times. I have developed talent internally. I have hired super talent outside that has worked awfully. I have also hired very good talent outside the company. I have developed different governance in the company that I have tried, error and learning. I had financial investors, I had industrial investors. So all that track allowed me to learn from very many things. And one thing that you learn is that all of us, we think we are unique. And it's true, we are unique. But on the other hand, there are so many things that are repeated from one company to another. As a mentorship or as a mentor, one thing is really listening, not thinking that you know everything that is going to happen, listening what's the true problem of the person that you have in front of you, and then from the appreciation of what they're going through, because as Pablo was saying, we go through so much pain that you cannot just diminish the pain we go through. So, but acknowledging the pain you go through, then it's, okay, what of the experiences that I have lived through could be helpful for you? And I think this is, I mean, it really depends on the chemistry of the two persons and how much do you want to benefit from the experiences that others are sharing with you. This was my experience while I was an entrepreneur and now as an investor or a mentor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We see that at Endeavor all the time, and these mentoring sessions can be truly transformational for entrepreneurs. We're going to touch now on investment. Pablo, you're one of the most active angel investors in Spain and also one of the most well-known ones, right? So the question for me is not so much, it's a little bit on the why, but it's much more on the how. How do you do it? Like, how do you keep track of all your investments and how you structure it so you can help all the companies you're investing in?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that happens when you sell your company is that all of a sudden you receive messages from 100 private bankers that tell you, and I recommend you a book. There's The Psychology of Money, and it's a very interesting thing that the skills to make money are different to the skills to preserve money, right? So one of the problems of entrepreneurs is like, we like Monopoly. It's like, okay, let's play again, no? I go to the red, no? And it's like, okay, hold on. So, but obviously, I didn't follow the advice very well because I keep investing. But I think some of the areas I make a lot of mistakes at the beginning, meaning doing like a lot of spray and pray, doing small tickets in small companies and not organized. But then over time, I've realized that it's better to concentrate in smaller companies and invest larger tickets and then have more than 5% for tax reasons and also be part of the board. No? So invest in areas that you know. So in my case, it's mainly from marketplaces, fintech, operation-heavy businesses, and try to have an impact on that. No? So I think companies are more like sport teams. So I think it's like this is like when big soccer players they retire and they become coaches and trainers. So it's less painful, no? But you have suffered the pain, so you can help the entrepreneur to manage that pain and that problems. So it's more like a psychologist effort, no, with all the entrepreneurs. But I mean, one of the things, and then there's obviously the fiscal, depending on your country, the way you have to organize everything. But I think it's a little bit crazy to have so many investments, but I think there's a lot of synergies because you talk to many people, and then I have this idea, I make this connection. It's the same thing as at Endeavor, right? It's a network, and opportunities come when you don't expect it. But for example, an example that I am proud of how to do things well as a business angel is what my experience, for example, with Mondimoto and other Endeavor entrepreneurs. So they were doing the same that I did in Clicars, but with motorbikes. So it was very straightforward. Okay. I can do it, no? So I entered when the company was 8 employees and 2 million in revenues. Another company is 300 people and 100 million in revenues. So it's amazing to see that, and for me, it's a way to be part of entrepreneur without so much pain because you are just on the fence telling, come on. But having said that, just to finish, what I would say is in some entrepreneurs when they exit, they create their own funds. Right. In my case, I decided not to do this, just to invest my own money, because one of the things that I realized is that it's very difficult to, for me, it's hard to say no to entrepreneurs or to try to play with them with evaluation and that. So, I don't like managing other people's money. So I decided to manage my own money. And also with my partner in Clicalia, Alistair, we created like a vehicle that we invest. But it's very crazy to manage. So if you ask me today how many companies do you have, I don't know. It's about 80, but I don't know.
About. Obviously, we're running short on time, so I'm going to combine the next two questions for you guys because it's also about investment, right? But it's you guys have followed a strategy or have taken it a little further, right? Felipe, you are also an active angel investor, but you've become an LP in one of Spain's more successful VC funds, such as Kibo. So I wanted to know why did you do that, and what is the impact that you're seeing? And then I'm going to go straight then to Sasha, right? When you finish Felipe, which is you go one step further and you've started a fund, right? You started Yellow, right? And which is already investing actively across Europe. So same question is like, how do you see that your impact is being now larger than what you did as an angel investor?
So I mean, with Kibo, it's a bit of a love story, no? Like for us, because they actually bet on us even before that they had the fund. They have supported us on the hardest moment, right, even more than even at the good moments. So actually, we get to know Aquilino and Javier, like so much that's for me, that was the decision. No, like it's when you're investing in a startup, you're investing on the entrepreneur. When you're investing in a fund, you're investing on the managers of the fund, on the partners, the people that are managing that, no? So for us, it was obvious, after knowing them for so many years, that we have to back it them if we could, even if it was a small amount, but supporting them. Given said that, as well, happy LP of Yellow.
Nice.
So as well, trusting a lot in those
Multiplier
guys.
effect in the stage.
Yeah, so I've been an active business angel for quite a few years. And Oscar, together, we're investing the last 3 or 4 years. I think we invested in close to 35 startups. And it was very emotional connection. There wasn't any strategy behind investing. It was, in my case, I love meeting founders. They're normally young with just an idea or very early on. And like them, like the idea, it's disrupting, understand the idea. Most of them I don't. And investing. But so we wanted to do, I think, 3 things. Professionalize what we're loving doing to make that a little bit more strategic. So we joined with an investor team of full-time dedicated. That was a wake-up call for me, as in, wow, there's a big difference between putting your own money and actually investing other people's money. Huge responsibility there. Much more analytical, deep. The second one is more personal. For me, I thought it was a great moment to move my learning, continue learning, and understand how investors think. I'd always been the other side, pitching, and to just be that side and understand that mechanics, I thought would be a good learning process for me to move on. And then the third, which we're super excited, is maybe to build a top European brand, to be maybe the first phone call when somebody's got an idea and looking for their first check. So yeah, we're really enjoying it. We've just started. We've done a few investments, and we've got a few in the pipeline. And yeah, super excited. So.
Awesome. So you guys can see it, but the time is up, so we're going to have to wrap this up, right? Thank you so much that you guys can see. This is the multiplier effect in action. The only thing I wanted to say before we wrap this up is give the audience some recommendation, because at the end we're here all to learn from you guys, which is talk to them, right? If you guys are investors, invest in their companies, invest in their employees' new spin-outs, right? If you guys are entrepreneurs, get advice from them. These guys are amazing. If you're aspiring entrepreneurs, right, go work for their companies. They're the best schools to become an entrepreneur in Spain, right? And if you're an institution, right, figure out a way in your area to support Spanish scale-ups, because this is what happens, right? Then the multiplier effect will take care of the rest. Thank you so much.